Man, you gotta love it. Called the guy. He's seriously. The only fight that he's gonna win is a food fight. Speaking of that, two dudes that he's never gonna beat in a food fight. My boy Philly.500 joins us now here.
Ain't no chance. Ain't no chance. He should give that. He should give that.
He's elite, Quez Watkins.
You know, some people pronounce that Quez Dropkins. Just to let you know. I'm just saying. Not me, but I'm just saying. Well, you know, it was a little surprising of a comment, but I guess the way I look at it, you know, it could be worse. He could have said, I don't even like football. Like one Mozzie Smith. I mean, to me, I would rather a guy try to portray him confidence in himself than saying, I don't even like the game that I play. I mean, why you drafted a guy the first round? He doesn't even like the game that he's playing. What kind of dedication is he going to give you, really? You know?
I watched this guy, Mozzie Smith, and I said it on draft day, he's a stiff. And I'll hold to this. Like when you're listening to people talk about Nolan Smith, you watch that get off. It's the fastest get off on the team. People are going, man, this guy is some athlete. When I watch Mozzie Smith, seriously, he looks like a turtle. I mean he looks like a turtle that got turned over on his shell.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm going to be honest with you with Mozzie Smith. Get this. I believe over half the fan base thought when they were announcing that draft pick that they were getting Nolan Smith, because all they heard was Smith, and they all start celebrating, and then they realized it wasn't Nolan Smith. And two, if you go back and look at the footage of the war room, of the draft room, you look how miserable, how upset the Cowboys looked in there, in the front office. Like, that front office looked upset and mad. I'm telling you. They didn't want to draft him, and then the camera comes on, and they're like, "Oh, let's fake clap." I think that Buffalo screwed them when they took the tight end. I think they didn't want to take Mozzie Smith. I think they wanted that tight end, and they got caught sleeping.
I got a couple guineas back in New York, man, that are looking for their cement shoes, and I think Mozzie Smith's wearing them.
It might be, yeah. He's going to have a hard time with Landon Dickerson and Kelsey. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh my God, they're gonna kill that guy. Here, let me ask you this question here: do the Eagles have the answer at linebacker and safety on the current roster? Let me name these guys: Jacoby Dean, Nicholas Morrow, Christian Ellis, Terrell Edmonds, Reed Blankenship, Kayvon Wallace, Sidney Brown. All those guys are going to play your linebacker and your safety position. On the current team right now, the roster, the 90-man roster, do the Eagles have the answers at linebacker and safety on the roster right now?
If I'm being honest, I'll say no. I'll say as of right now, no. A safety position, I think that you can just look at the Eagles and what they're doing. They're bringing in a bunch of safeties they've worked out right before camp started. We've heard reports that Howie Roseman is looking to add a safety. So I think the Eagles don't feel comfortable there. They're rotating guys in except for Blankenship. So I don't think that they feel comfortable with it. So I can't. I'm not saying Blankenship ain't going to be good. I'm not even saying, you know, the other kid's going to be good. But it's just like, I can't feel comfortable if I know that they're not comfortable. And then as far as the linebacker goes, I do think Jacoby Dean's going to be good. But with that injury scare today, when he went down, I started thinking to myself, well, what are you going to do now? Like, once he goes out, once you get one injury, you realize how thin they are at the linebacking position. And so I really expect them to upgrade the safety position during camp. The linebacker, I just don't know if they value it enough to do it. That's just being honest. If we're being honest.
So he hasn't gone through the first week of practice already, and Dean's getting banged up.
Well, I mean, you know, I don't know how bad it was, you know, or
it's not. No. That's not what I mean. I'm hoping nothing serious here. But what I'm saying is, he's got 25 more weeks.
Right. No. Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I don't know if it was a fluke thing or not. If he's hurt in a week or 2 weeks from now or week one, he's banged up. If it gets to be like an every week thing or every other week thing, then I'll start worrying. I just don't know. I don't know like how bad it really was or what they were worried about. So it's just hard to say right now.
Are you comfortable with Marcus Mariota as your backup quarterback?
You know what? I like Marcus Mariota. Like when he was coming out of Oregon, I was like, yeah, the Eagles should try to get him. They have Chip Dip Kelly. He should get a quarterback that can actually run his system. But he's obviously struggling in the passing game. I'll still take him. I'll still take him over Gardner Stinkshoe. I'll still take him over him.
Yeah. Will you take him over Nick Foles?
No. If I had a chance to bring Nick Foles back, no, I wouldn't take him over Nick Foles. No. You know what's another option is that Malik Willis kid. He may be getting cut. He may be the perfect guy to bring in as a developmental project and like just, develop him behind Hurts. Maybe he becomes a backup. Maybe you get, maybe you could trade him in a few years. I would strongly consider that.
How about Teddy Bridgewater?
Nah, I mean, as a backup,
yeah,
I think he'd be fine. Yeah, I think he'd be fine. But I do think Mariota will be fine too. I'm not gonna over freak out too much over the practices. Let's see what he does in the preseason games. I think the thing with Mariota is like if you need 1 or 2 games, I think he probably could get that. If you need more than that, I don't know.
Here's what I want to be is prepared, unlike San Francisco's been, for if there's any kind of downtime with Hurts, that we're now looking how important that backup guy's becoming, because look at that Cooper Rush kid, whatever you say about him, he saved the Cowboys season last year for them to be able to win 12 ball games. I think you have to have a quality guy that can win you some ball games back there. I'm not talking about carrying your team, Philly. I'm talking about just holding down the fort.
Yeah, I still think Mariota can do it. I mean, are we really going to freak out just about these practices? We're kind of busting balls with Elliott Shore-Parks keeping statistics. Now we're going to get on the guy for not having interceptions. I just think it's too early for me to hit the panic on Marcus Mariota.
How dare you say that the Jalen Hurts practice schedules and the practice stats aren't important?
Hey, I love them. I love it. I think they're great. I mean, I'm very entertained by it. So I like the fact that he does it. But what does it really mean? You don't know what a guy's working on in practice. It doesn't mean anything. Same thing with with Mariota. Like, is Mariota playing behind a third string offensive line? Like, it's just I'm not going to panic about Mariota. I thought he was a good signing at the time. I'm not going to worry about it too much yet. And again, to your point, Dean the same way. Nakobe Dean the same way with his injury. I don't know that that's going to be a recurring injury every week.
Fair enough. But when someone goes like this and says, well, they're garbage second team guys. So are you telling me you don't have any depth at wideout? Well, wait, you got an elite.
Yeah, we don't have any depth at wideout. Well, we don't have depth at wideout. Yeah, I don't. I think that's a fair statement. We're not even sure, what we got in our third wide receiver. We're hoping that Quez, will be better, or this kid Oz, whatever, is going to step up. But wide receiver is another position that I'm not sure besides the 2 guys you got.
Milton Williams, what's your expectations of him this year?
I think he'll be a productive, rotational defensive tackle. I think you can move him defensive tackle, you can move him defensive end. I think he has. I think I'd say like 4 to 5 sacks. I think.
So you think he's going to be instrumental and take one of the roles of Sue and Joseph?
Yeah. I do. I actually do. I think so. I think he's gotten better every year, and I expect him to take another step.
You think Mulata could become a better offensive tackle than Lane Johnson?
That's really, that's hard to say. I mean, Jordan Mulata is very good, and see what he's done, right? The guy never really had pads on until he was playing, in the preseason. So like
3 years
to
ago,
me,
4 years ago.
yeah, I mean it's amazing what he's done. I'm not gonna limit anything he can do in the future, but man, when you look at Lane Johnson, you look at he shuts down Parsons, he shuts down Bosa. He's playing with no groin, his groin's hanging off, and he's going to the Super Bowl, and he doesn't miss a beat. It's really hard to say that somebody's going to be better than that, because I think Lane Johnson's actually underrated in the National Football League.
Do you believe that at the end of the year, Howie Roseman will extend Hasson Reddick and redo his deal?
I do.
So you think Howie will pay market value of $30 million for an edge rusher?
I think Howie Roseman will take advantage of whatever situation he can. He will calculate the calculations of cornbread. He'll put it and do it in a way that nobody sees it coming, and he'll figure a way to get it done. That's the one thing I don't worry about Howie is getting things like that done. Look, if Hasson Reddick goes out and has 16 sacks again this year, I think you can't let him walk.
Here's why I bring that up, because once he saw that Dallas Goedert was going to be the heir apparent to Zach Ertz, he moved Ertz, and Ertz is still with a lot of talent left in the gas can. I still think he's a productive player, but when he saw that, he saw the ability to be able to get younger and a little bit cheaper, and Zach wanted to tip a bit more money. What if Nolan Smith goes in there and you all of a sudden see the heir apparent and you go like this? Well, wait a minute here. I think this guy put in Hasson Reddick's role could get me 14 sacks at a cheaper and on a rookie deal.
Yeah. Well,
do you really think they're going to turn around and go, here's $30 million?
No, I think that could probably change how they think about it, at least for, no, I would say right now, based upon the fact that we haven't seen Nolan Smith play at all, I would say, yes, they'll give him a contract extension or they'll rework it. But if Nolan Smith goes out and has 8 sacks his rookie year or something like that, no, it'll change everything.
Are you comfortable after the first week of practice with your running back room?
I am.
Why?
I am. DeAndre Swift. I think DeAndre Swift is going to be I think he's going to be a stud. I think he's going to be better than what Miles Sanders was last year. And when I say that, I'm not trying to disrespect Miles Sanders in any way. I thought Miles had a great year. I just think that DeAndre Swift is set up for a big, huge year, being that it's a contract year, being that he's playing behind that offensive line. And if he just stays healthy, I believe he's going to have actually more opportunity than he ever had in Detroit.
How about this? Well, maybe this is a fair statement about Swift. I don't know if he's going to replace those rushing yards, but could he become more important to the overall offense because of the passing game and the ability to get out in the open and to catch passes?
Yeah, I think, it wouldn't surprise me if he has less rushing yards, but I think when it's all said and done, I think he'll have more total yards, than Miles did. He's going to give the Eagles offense a dimension they did not have. And that was a legitimate threat out of the backfield. I think that can take this offense to another level, by the way. I just do. How do you stop everybody? No, and I brought up earlier, here, and I think that's important because, as much as I'm not as high on that defense as others are because there's so many holes on it, I look still at the overall – I look at the overall NFC. Did the NFC get better from a year ago? Now, the playoff teams from a year ago got a little better, but, okay, Detroit got better. New Orleans may have gotten better. We'll see how many games Kamara suspended. I think that the Saints are going to be in a conversation to win a lot of games because they got the shittiest schedule and they're in the shittiest division. So they're going to win. They're going to win a lot of games. But really, if you look at it, did the Rams get better? No. Atlanta's got the worst pass rushing team in the last 3 years of anybody in the league. They've improved on offense. I get that, but they still can't play defense. I know they spent I'm just looking at it going, Chicago got better with DJ Moore. What about their shitty defense? So to me, I look at it and go, maybe if the defense on the Eagles is not that hot, I'm thinking this, Philly. I don't know how good the NFC is going to be. I think actually like the Giants take a step back Right.
What did the New York Giants do, in your opinion, to get better from a year ago?
Well, they
Darren
added the
Waller?
tight. That was it. They added Waller. I
Hasn't
think the
played 3
Giants.
years.
I think the Giants missed a huge opportunity because I still think they don't have anybody. There's nobody on the outside that threatens you. I mean, who you think Darius Slade-Bradbury will worry about the receiving core? No, and Waller
Absolutely.
can't
It's the worst.
stay
I
healthy.
think it's the worst receiving core in the league.
Yeah. Yeah, it's up there. I don't think it's good. So I don't think the Giants really got that much better. I don't. I think Green Bay lost, Aaron Rodgers is gone. Tom Brady is gone. The NFC to me is an easier path than the AFC by a long shot. That's why I feel so good about where we're at, because I think we're the best team in that conference. Now, the defense, look, there's question marks at safety. There's question marks with these young linebackers. But, man, I'm telling you, I think this defensive line is going to be so dominating that any of those mistakes or any of those problems or flaws we have, I think it's going to cover up a lot.
The only thing I'll say about the Miles Sanders numbers and the group that you have, you understand that Miles Sanders had the 4th best rushing season in Eagle history.
Yeah,
I mean, 1,300 yards, it was 4th in Eagle history. If you think you're just going to go out there and get guys off the bus stop and replace that with 11 touchdowns, I think that's a tad bit delusional.
Well, I think that as of the draft, before the DeAndre Swift trade, I think that it was a situation where we didn't replace anybody. But I think when they got DeAndre Swift, I think we're talking about a legitimate talent. We're not just talking about some guy off the bus or off the street. This kid's a legitimate talent, man. So I think if you would have asked me a year ago who has a higher ceiling, I would have said DeAndre Swift. If he stays healthy, he has a higher ceiling. I don't think anything's changed with that. I think that he's not just some guy that they brought in. He's a legitimate talent that they got in a total steal from the Detroit Lions. That's what
I do. No, I think the Lions made a mistake, because look at what the Lions have to do now. The Lions are counting on the kid Gibbs, and they're counting on David Montgomery, who they got over from Chicago now. And it's a brand new running back room. Didn't it make more sense to keep Swift and have him with Gibbs than bring David Montgomery in? I don't think David Montgomery is an upgrade from DeAndre Swift.
I don't either, but I think if the whole time that Swift was in Detroit, it always seemed like, maybe because he was hurt a lot, but it never seemed like to me that they really backed him up the way they needed to. Like, I think the change of scenery is going to be so good for him. I just think he's going to have a big year. I do.
Are you okay with what's going on at right guard right now? And do you think that's going to be a bigger deal or no deal by the start of September? Replacing an all-pro guard.
Right. I mean, look, I guess Cam Jurgens is technically, it's his spot right now to lose. At least that's what it sounds like. We haven't seen Steen yet. We haven't played one preseason game yet. But if Cam Jurgens is the guy, he's a second-round pick, right? So he's definitely a talent. And he's going between Jason Kelce and Lane Johnson, and Stoutland's your offensive line coach. I think they'll be okay. I'm not too worried about it.
I think you're right there, too, on that one. Last one. If you had to draft right now a wide receiver on the Eagles, 1 or 2, who would you take, A.J. Brown, or would you take Devontae Smith?
I take Devontae Smith.
Wow.
I think you should start measuring Devontae Smith for his gold jacket. I think Devontae Smith is that good. I like A.J. Brown a lot, and I understand he's big, physical, and stuff. But man, I just think Devontae Smith is. I just think he's something special. I think he's only going to get better and better. He's such a great route runner. He's so smooth, and I think he has tremendous hands. And I think he's going to be good for a long, long, long time. Really good.
Wow, you would take Devontae?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
I would take Devontae.
So, do you believe he's the heir apparent to A.J. Brown when his contract is up?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I think that
you're not going to have two $25 million wide receivers.
Why not? Why not? Why not?
What are you playing Monopoly?
I mean, the way. Listen, everybody says, "Well, you don't want to pay this, you can't pay that." And then like 2-3 years, that's like chump change compared to what all these other guys are making. So, I mean, we'll see when the time comes. But, I mean, I think receivers have become almost like really more important in a lot of ways than they used to be. And if you have two guys like that, I say keep up. See, they're a special group, I think, those two, a pair, because you're not just getting two really good receivers. Like if you look at Miami with Waddle and Hill, they're very fast but very similar. I think A.J. Brown and Devontae give you totally two different types of receivers. It's very hard to stop. I don't know if they'll re-sign Brown, but I don't let Devontae Smith go. I think Devontae will be your best receiver at the end of this year. And I'm not saying that again. I love A.J. Brown. I love him. I have nothing bad to say. I just think Devontae is that good.
Okay, finally here.
And I'm not his PR guy yet. I'm still doing
Hey, I think they got rid of Isaac Seumalo to prepare for Landon Dickerson next year and giving him a contract. Do you believe that? And do you believe that they will pay him $20 million? Because that's the going rate for the top guards in the league.
You got it. I don't believe the Eagles draft guys to let them walk that quick.
And for the record, I would pay him that.
Yeah, you got to pay him, and I think they will. I mean, you know, what do you want to be like the Cowboys? One of your best players you have sitting at camp. You don't want to negotiate with them. I think the Eagles pay. The Eagles, they're really good with that. You know, if they bring a guy in and they draft a guy, and this is another reason why I would give the nod to Devontae Smith, is because he was drafted by the Eagles. I don't think the Eagles like to let those guys, especially if they're good, walk out the door. So I don't see Landon Dickerson walking out the door. I don't see Devontae Smith walk out the door. These guys will all be resigned.
I've got to leave you with this because I brought this up yesterday, and I know where you're going to go with this. But so I said this about Dak Prescott versus Jalen Hurts. Dak's not a turnover machine. He had a bad year. Year before that, he had 37 touchdowns and 10 picks, 4,500 yards. Those games against the Eagles were non-competitive. Last year, he was hurt. Jalen had a good year. Jalen's coming off a great year versus Dak coming off a bad year. That doesn't make Hurts a better quarterback. Well, or in your eyes, does it?
Right. Well, I mean, if we go year by year, it's kind of hard, because you have to judge in almost a smaller window with Jalen Hurts. I mean, you really only had.
Oh, so you want to look at it in the micro now instead of the macro, and how you're. Well, looking
I think macro, it's yet to be determined, but there are.
Well, then how can you make an assessment that he's better?
Well, I think he's coming off a better year. I think he had a better year. And that's where I would judge it. But the other thing is this. The difference I see with Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott is Jalen Hurts has gone to a Super Bowl. He has done something. Dak Prescott never wins a big game. He can't win a big. He hasn't shown that he can win a big game at all. So Dak Prescott could be Kirk Cousins and put up nice stats in the regular season. But I at least watch Jalen Hurts put up one of the great Super Bowl performances. Dak Prescott, I don't believe, can do that. So therefore, I would make Jalen Hurts a better quarterback.
Yeah, man, I like that Jimmy Garoppolo comparison. Dig that, man. Get a team to a Super Bowl, 5-2 in the postseason. Help your team get there. I would make that comparison too. Hurts.
It wasn't just that he got there. He would have won that game at the end of the ball. Yeah, but
you're giving a guy credit for losing.
Listen, did you watch the Chiefs Buffalo Bills game? Right, a few years ago, it was a classic game, right? Mahomes, Josh Allen. I can't blame a quarterback that goes off the field winning the game or putting his team in a position to win. That defense gives me one stop in that second half. Jalen Hurts is a Super Bowl winner right now. It wasn't like he played bad or he played like Jimmy Garoppolo. He was great. He was great.
You know what's crazy about your take? And it's not crazy wrong, but here he's played really well against Mahomes. 2 times he's played him. He's got 2 L's.
Yeah. Well, it's not just him. I mean, you got a whole team there.
Hey, man, right? I can't tell where the yardsticks are with you sometimes here. You're moving them on me.
No. I mean, what I'm saying is if Jalen Hurts went out there, like in Donovan McNabb when Donovan played the Super Bowl, had 3 interceptions, right? And it really hurt your team. I would say so, but he put that team in a position to win. I mean, all he needed was a little more time on the clock and the ball back. That was it. He needed one stop. It's hard for me to say that this guy is a Super Bowl loser or can't win a big game. I look at Jalen Hurts and I say, I believe he can win a Super Bowl. I look at Dak Prescott. I don't believe he can. Even in a losing situation, I don't think Dak could play the way he played in the Super Bowl.
Here's what Tone says. Get over it. Hurts is a bad man. He's a
That's
bad
right.
man. So you're sold 100% this time,
Yeah.
unlike Wentz, that he's the guy.
Well, I was sold on Wentz too until he got knocked out in that Seattle game, and then I was like, that this guy's never gonna, it's never gonna happen. But yeah,
see, Philly, you're the first guy that admits the truth in this, where you go like this. That's player performance. It's not changing an opinion. The guy got his ass hit and became, to me, you're dead right. What happened to Wentz, and you can see it in the pocket. He became skittish in the pocket, and it ruined him in the pocket on pressure. And after that hit with Clowney, there is no doubt his pocket presence never recovered, and that was the beginning of the downfall. That's player performance. Things happen in a guy's career that caused that. It's not flip-flopping. The guy dictated that himself because he was never able. Like when Brady blew his knee out young in his career, Brady could have been skittish, right? But he wasn't. He overcame the injury and went on to win more Super Bowls.
Yeah. No, I agree. We're on the same page with that one. I mean, I agree.
Are you looking forward to the Kelly Greens?
Yeah, are you kidding? I was so emotional when they started showing those things. They look so beautiful, and they're so much better than the current ones. I'm sorry, they just are. And I would bring them back permanent if I was.
I love the helmet.
Yeah,
I love the old school helmet too. I mean, I tell you what, the Birds helmet is one of my favorite helmets in the NFL. I just love that. By the way, I brought this up earlier, and I want to get your opinion on this. Last question for you here. I said the reason that Jalen Carter is on the team is because of the failure of Justin Jefferson. And what I mean by that is, remember something, all that shit that was out about Justin Jefferson on the sidelines, the LSU kids taking money, Odell Beckham.
Right.
There were questions about how Ed Ogeron was running that LSU program. There was kind of a character issue about Jefferson in college on whether or not he was going to be completely focused on his NFL career. I think personally, them passing on him is like when Minnesota and Dennis Green passed on Warren Sapp because he smoked weed. He fell into the draft to the Buccaneers. Well, they went back into the draft a couple years later and they said, we're taking Randy Moss. I don't give a shit about guys smoking pot. And they got a Hall of Fame wideout. I think Jalen Carter's on that Eagle team because they were not going to go down that rabbit hole again and making a mistake like that by not taking the better player.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the Jalen Reagor pick in general, not just skipping on Jefferson, but I think it changed a lot of how they think about the draft in general. I honestly tell you the truth, I don't think a few years ago they would have drafted Devontae Smith at all in that situation. They would have skipped. They would never have taken.
Why? Because of his size?
Or
because of Reagor, missing on Reagor.
Like I think that they were like, we're gonna go in SEC. We're gonna get guys that not or some little college somewhere that put up some big numbers, but we got to start taking talent, and they've done a better job ever since then. There's no question that Jefferson pick had a big impact on them.
Well, Philly, going into week 2, tonight, by the way, are you looking forward to the game tonight? Jets and Browns? I mean,
I can't wait. I can't wait for it to start. That's how I am. I get so excited about preseason, and then it starts in like 2 minutes. I'm like, God, we need the regular season here already. So I'll watch a little bit of it, but
it's kind of a symbolic thing, right? It starts the season.
I don't like it's on Thursday, though. I have to tell you, I used to like the whole thing where you have the Saturday
Yeah.
enshrinement and everything was an event, and then it led up to that football game. I don't like it on Thursday. I don't like Thursday night football in general, to be honest with you. But
Yeah, I don't either. I'm a fan of that. What you just said there too. Philly, have a
yeah.
great time tonight, man. Thank
You
you so
too,
much
my
for
man.
coming aboard, brother.
Thank you for having me on, man. Take
You
care.
bet, man. Don't forget to check out my boy too on his podcast and streaming show. He's spectacular. Does a great job covering the Birds National Football League. He's got great takes, and we so appreciate it. By the way, our friends at Hooters, I am so excited this year to be involved with our friends at King of Prussia. It is the official home of the National Football Show in Big Sills. I mean, I've had a 35-year relationship, like I said, with you guys, with the Hooters folks, and KOP is going to be hopping this year. By the way, do me a favor. If you're doing your preseason draft parties, make sure you give them a call, man, because this is the place and the one-stop place you're going to want to have for your preseason football, your draft parties. Also, it's the official home of Eagle fans, and it's going to be the greatest place during the fall for you to go and watch some football is going over to the Hooters. Draft parties are essential, and also to your preseason ball there. Hot wings, world-famous Hooter girls, daily specials Tuesdays. Buy 10 wings, get 10 boneless wings free. Wednesdays are off the charts. 40th year anniversary. Can you believe that? I've been involved with them, like I said, for 35 years. 1983, all you can eat. Kids eat on Saturdays for free. Weekday specials, 6 items, $6. Miller Lite tall drafts, Coors Light tall drafts, 6 boneless wings. Just put 6 items together for $6. You'll love it. 240 North Gulf Road, King of Prussia. And when you go to King of Prussia Hooters, make sure you do me a favor. You tell them Big Sil sent you.